Upon its initial reveal at a media roundtable during E3 2014, codename S.T.E.A.M was not too well received by Nintendo fans. I was one of the few that was actually excited for the game. After all, codename S.T.E.A.M was being developed by Intelligent Systems, who made such marvelous games as the Paper Mario series, Fire Emblem Awakening, and Advance Wars. Unlike those titles, the game seemed to be doing something unique with the strategy genre, but the question here is, does it do it well? And just why do people keep comparing it to Valkyria Chronicles? Well, I can't provide the answer to that last question because I, like many others, have never played any of Valkyria Chronicles, but I can say that codename S.T.E.A.M is kind of a mixed bag for me. Let's start out with the plot. The game is set in a steampunk version of London where the whole city is being run on, well, steam. But as the city is opening a new bridge that spans the River Thames, aliens come out of nowhere and begin to terrorize the city. In response to the alien threat, Abraham Lincoln, yes, you heard me correct, Abraham Lincoln, organizes a team to stop the alien menace, calling it the Strike Team Eliminating the Alien Menace, or codename S.T.E.A.M. Now, the plot is as cheesy as it sounds. It's like a group of Japanese businessmen were sitting around a table trying to make the game appear more American-like, and one of them said, "Why not include Abraham Lincoln?" The funny thing is, the game's title in Japan is simply Lincoln vs. Aliens. The other sort of oddly cool thing is that most of the playable party members consist of iconic fictional characters from American literature like Tom Sawyer or the Cowardly Lion from The Wizard of Oz. As someone who is taking American literature in school, this is a neat detail. However, I feel as if the characters never get fully developed throughout the plot. They're given generic characteristics, but the game relies too heavily on the player having some knowledge of the source material to truly understand the character of each party member. However, I imagine the main draw of codename S.T.E.A.M for many would be the gameplay, and it is decent. Like I said earlier, the concept of the gameplay is similar to that of Valkyria Chronicles. It's a turn-based strategy game with third-person shooter aspects, but you're limited in where you can move and how you can attack. Every action requires steam, but you can move around in an area to scout out your surroundings and not use up said steam unless you end your turn, attack, or get attacked. This way you can sneak around to try to see where your enemies are hiding and collect different beneficial items like metals, gears, or steam tanks. But if you want to attack, it will take up a certain amount of steam. You can't really tell from my gameplay, but the combat is quite engaging. It requires some thought and planning to not just walk into an enemy's eyesight and get attacked. If you want to play more defensively, you can move your squad in such a way where they have enough steam left at the end of a turn to pull off an attack. This way, if an enemy comes into their view, certain characters can pull off an Overwatch attack that damages the enemy and at occasion ends that enemy's turn. I found myself actually thinking about where I should go next and whether or not I should leave enough steam for an Overwatch attack. Additionally, every character has their own unique style of play. Choosing one character over another at the beginning of a mission can be the decision between failure and success. Overall, most characters are balanced in relation to how useful they are, but some characters are obviously a bit better than others, like the Cowardly Lion who can leap a large distance or to the top of a building. And not every character is all about attacking, because Tiger Lily can heal members of your team, which makes her ideal in numerous missions. Despite all this praise, the gameplay is nowhere near perfect. For one, the enemy turns take way too long and there's no way to skip them. I can understand the fact that the developers wanted you to see the enemy closest to you, but the turn has all the enemies making moves, even the ones you can't see and aren't aggroed on you. It destroys the pacing of the game, making each level feel like a slow crawl to the end goal. This could have been easily remedied by a skip or speed up button, which mind you was in Fire Emblem Awakening, another title developed by Intelligent Systems. See, this would have made the combat more streamlined and a lot more exciting. The lack of this skip button feels to me like a way to pan out the length of the game. I imagine this would be an immediate deal breaker for a lot of people. See, nowadays people like more streamlined content that you can pick up and play through without a lot of waiting around. The developers should have thought this would be detrimental to the experience, especially since it's marketed towards Americans who are stereotypically more impatient. On top of this, there's some multiplayer content that includes 3 modes. One where you fight another player in a mech suit that turns the turn-based combat into a more action-style combat. This doesn't really bode well for the controls. It's not exciting or that engaging. The other 2 modes involve 2 players going against each other to collect medals in a certain amount of turns, or just defeating the opponent. I didn't get to experience the multiplayer too much as no one else around me had the game at the time, but from what I played, I can say it was a decent distraction from the campaign. However, the multiplayer is not exactly too easy to operate. You can't create lobbies with your friends. You can only go to random and hope that your friend can join you before another person does. Sure, there is a tournament mode, but if you want to play this way, you have to plan to play a day way in advance, as you can only set the time for the tournament a day ahead. That was another reason I didn't play the multiplayer all that much. It was too much of a hassle to organize playing with another person. Looking past all of these flaws, one of the best elements of Codename S.T.E.A.M is its presentation. Everything is very stylized, and the way the story is presented with comic book panels is unique. It makes the game stand out from a lot of other 3DS titles. The comic book art style flows together nicely with every element of Codename S.T.E.A.M. I didn't get the chance to listen to the music outside of playing the game, but it didn't annoy me at all, and the theme song was pretty catchy. I haven't tried the game on the new 3DS, but from what I've heard, the graphics look slightly better. Overall, Codename S.T.E.A.M is a decent game. Its gameplay is innovative and unique, but it suffers from the extensive amount of waiting. Plus, the game's multiplayer suffers from not being streamlined. The story is not that compelling, but it was entertaining. The voice acting is good, but the constant one-liners can get on my nerves at times. I would recommend the game to fans of the turn-based strategy genre, but if you're not into that genre, I don't think you're going to get that much enjoyment out of Codename S.T.E.A.M. I had a bit of fun with it though, but that's just me. If you're on the fence, wait for the inevitable sale or price drop. If I had to give Codename S.T.E.A.M a score though, I would give it a 7 out of 10. It is a decent game, but there are just too many major flaws in the formula for me to enjoy it fully. But if you disagree or agree with my opinions, let me know in the comments below. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing to never miss any of my new content. And as always, thank you so much for watching and take care. Have a wonderful day and goodbye.